Welcome to the world of Aircraft 2, a comedy film made over a 5-year period in a garage. When the producer said he wanted to wear a gorilla suit, I thought the stress of filmmaking had finally taken its toll on him. But when he explained from inside the ambulance that he had access to such a prop, we decided to write it into the script. So the cockpit crew were each given costumes: a gorilla, a pirate, and the elf. We managed to collect 11 actors plus crew for one Sunday's filming, an achievement in itself. The sequence required the disguised crew to sneak through the cabin back to the empty cockpit. With no autopilot, Aircraft 2 drops into a dive. Let's see that again. Eye patch here, but in the previous shot before the dive, the pirate's eye patch is missing. This needed to be fixed. We had already torn down half the set. It will be months before all the actors and crew could agree on a return date. We needed a fix. A close-up of the pirates removing and replacing his eye patch would solve this problem.
Kung Fu Bride, classic.
Chief, put the eye patch on.
Problem solved, but we'd added new content to the story. Let me introduce you to the Brantham Amateur Theatrical Society, also known as BATS, and they provided the Kung Fu Brides. They would be playing the characters in a fictional movie screened on board Aircraft 2. And they did their own stunts.
So he says to his wife, "What's a jumbo jet doing at the top of our stairs?" And she says, "You said to leave the landing lights on."
There was no glass in the cockpit. This had to be added in. And to give the illusion of movement, clouds were superimposed at the side. Here's a before and after shot. In some cases, photographs of the actual set were used and flipped over. For one scene, the lead actor had to wing walk, so the exterior of Aircraft 2 had to be built, and finally digitally embellished on the computer. The size of the model used for Aircraft 2 also dictated the size of the environment. Most of the sets were tabletop size. Depth of field became an issue. And of course, light source. These suitcases are only 8mm across, each with their own design. Sticky labels found on fruit and other packaging were cut up and applied, making a variety of different styles of suitcases and baggage. We only had one baggage truck, but we just repeated it in 3 different sections of the screen and cut it together, much to the amusement of Kitten Kong. She even contributed to the script. During the summer of 2019, my garden became a polystyrene workshop. A desert terrain was pasted together, painted together, and plastered with sand. Once again the camera slider was used. One single wire held it in place. There were 3 different types of terrain based on the colour of the paint used. By placing various blocks in different orders, we could create larger landscapes. A few model shots were pure 2D animation. Here, a mirror is used to reflect the sunlight into the gap. In some cases, the shots didn't quite work. Here the camera lens is okay, but the terrain model work wasn't large enough to cover the whole screen, and you could see my kitchen in the background. However, when the sun shone, these looked like rocks. This was filmed indoors, and it just didn't have the right look under studio lights. Also, we were getting a lot of oscillation from the camera slider.
We've got to stop that porpoising. That's it. Yeah.
Eventually we found out that reversing it gave a smoother transition, and just reverse the film.
Yeah.
As mentioned before, one of the main problems was focusing. And because I was using my mobile phone for these shots, a few of them had my shadow in. This shot was reversed in post. Since we couldn't get the model aircraft to move smoothly without wobbling, we tried a different tactic. Move the clouds instead. I took a sleeping bag apart and look what I found. Clouds! The clouds closer to the camera had to move at a faster speed than the clouds at the rear, giving the illusion of depth.
1, 2, 3. Plane's wobbling like hell.
Once again we experimented with different angles for the clouds and the plane's relation to it. The audience shouldn't be subjected to the same shot of the aircraft flying the same way over the same clouds over and over again.
And back.
One setup required aircraft 2 to corner around some clouds. Post-production of these shots were a headache because he had to remove the string and the wire from the shots, and because we had to double the travelling speed, the shots were short. Here I am creating the landscape for the Aircraft 2 runway. A trip to the garden to get some moss and apply it to the edges. My airbrush provided the engine jets pushing away the dust.
Is that working or not? Pretty good.
We provided 2 angles to make the sequence last longer.
Rolling camera. Okay, hold it there. Right.
Back to the workshop. Can you guess what this is? It's an avocado. Can you guess what's in this suitcase? It's not an avocado. It's a time bomb. The location of the bomb is eventually revealed on the tail of Aircraft 2. So we had to build a tail, plus all the accessories.
That's good.
Another required shot was Aircraft 2's engines running. More wood wizardry from Mr. Simpson and his drill. What's Henny doing with that polystyrene block, I wonder? Oh my goodness, he's using sharp objects. And electricity. What's this? Is it an avocado? Careful you don't take your eye out, Henny. All that just for one shot? Now what's he up to? That's hot glue. Careful, Henny. Oh, very clever. You haven't destroyed the peak of the hat. Mr. Simpson looking cool?
Boom! Boom!
Mr. Simpson has a go at model making. Now what's Henny up to? Pudding rice? Ah, well I'll be burgered. Very nice. And where did that appear? Now what are you up to? What is that contraption? battery connected to some wire. Ah, the heated filament cuts through the polystyrene. Once again, all these props are just made for one gag and then thrown away.
Yes, Chief.
Another one-off gag, and to create it we had to stretch that metal wire. Another one-off gag that didn't look quite right and needed tidying up in post-production. Back to the tabletop and the hangar set where Aircraft 2 is introduced. There's me pulling that string that opens the door to the hangar, whilst John is pulling on another string that pulls both the vehicle and Aircraft 2 out. For one scene we required paparazzi, photographers and their cameras. Best thing to do about that is to create them, right? We couldn't use modern up-to-date cameras. Microwave dishes were spray painted silver. Pins, screws and anything shiny was used against a black background. You can see the silver foil on the left. Incidental furniture had to be built for the airport terminal, in this case a ticket machine. The pilot oxygen supply were washing machine pipes, plastic bottles and plastic trays, and suspended from the ceiling, though they didn't always act on cue, and we had to retake many times. Let's go to that live then. Gas mask now. That's the one. Thank you guys. You're doing fine. Okay, shall we go for a take? And action. Shaky, shaky. Shaky, shaky. Hold on, the mountain's coming in now. Check that out. Oh no. You're going to hit it? Okay, it's going across. It's going across. It's slow down the shaky. Slow down the shaky. Okay, we're okay now. We've made it.
We made it.
Handbrake.
Splendid throttle device, which goes backwards and forwards. Individual controls work as well. And this wonderful
Rolling
At speed.
and action. Looking forward to each other and then forward again. Okay, and without headphones now, can I have the captain is putting the thrusters on forward. We go and cut there. Camera at speed. Action. Welcome to Aircraft 2's cockpit. Quite unique. It's not a 747, it's just wood, card and plastic screwed together in a tight enclosure. Brought to life with the cast and crew of Aircraft 2. Recycled plastic, creme brulee dishes, knobs, switches and buttons, screwed together to a bit of wood with light behind it. The engineer's workstation. Wing mirrors cannibalised from cars. Adding the nuts and bolts. In order to illustrate Captain Burns' diminutive size, the pilot's chair was built lower than the first officer's, and once the yoke and the dashboard were positioned, the outer shell was curved round, taped and cut to fit. Painted. Window frame. Painted. Dashboard. Painted. Yoke. Created. And once all filming is finished, someone has to take down the set. Poor Andy. What looks good on paper may not work in real life. In this case, the captain undoes his safety belt, which pulls up his underwear.
Action! I'll check the cargo hold.
That could be dangerous. Only if the bomb goes off.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Security discovered a bomb threat. Is there anything in the air?
Well, Gravity Airlines are coming down and Inflation Airlines are going up.
For more information, there is a Facebook page. We do hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes viewing of the British comedy film Aircraft 2.